Renault Trucks is a French commercial truck and military vehicle manufacturer with corporate headquarters at Saint-Priest near Lyon. Originally part of Renault, it has been owned by the Volvo Group since 2001. From its beginnings in 1978 to 2002, the company was called Renault Véhicules Industriels, from 1992 on officially written as Renault VI, with either form commonly abbreviated AVI. Until 1999, RVI also manufactured buses. History: in 1956, the company Savium was formed as a subsidiary of Renault from the combination of Renault's own truck and bus production with the manufacturers Somua and Latil. From 1957 on, Savium was also used as the brand name for the trucks and buses produced by the company. As a result of French industrial policy, in 1975 state-owned Renault also acquired the truck and bus manufacturer Berliet from Citroën. In 1978, Berliet and Savium were merged to form Renault Véhicules Industriels. Again, the old brand names were retained for 2 more years while the model lineups gradually were incorporated, until in 1980 they were replaced by the name Renault. In 1971, Savium became a member of the Euro Truck Development Group or Club of Four, a cooperation between 4 European truck producers for the production of medium-sized trucks. Since 1975 the truck models resulting from this cooperation were built by Savium and later Renault, even until 2001. They were also sold on the North American market as the Mack Midliner or Manager. In 1978, PSA Group had bought Chrysler's European operations. Included in the deal were commercial vehicle operations in the UK and Spain, which at that time used the brand name Dodge. PSA however sold them on to RVI in 1983, having itself little interest in the commercial vehicle market. The newly acquired operations in the UK had their origins in the commercial vehicle branch of the Roots Group which originally carried the brand names Carrier and Commer. Some of the models built there were continued in production for several years by RVI in Dunstable, Bedfordshire, who also kept the Dodge brand name for these models, albeit in combination with a Renault badge. In 1988 the company was subject to a fire brigades union inquiry due to 8 Dodge fire engines involved in crashes. Until 1992 the UK division was known as Renault Truck Industries, after which it then took the international RVI name. In Spain, however, where Renault already was recognized as a local automobile producer, the Dodge trucks, which originally had been developed by the manufacturer Barreiros Diesel, were rebadged as Renaults and soon after replaced by French-designed models. In 1987, RVI took over from its parent company Renault a 42% stake in the American manufacturer Mack Trucks which became a fully owned subsidiary of RVI in 1990. In 1994, RVI purchased a 34% stake in the Czech bus manufacturer Karosa, increasing its ownership to a majority 51% in 1996 and 96% in 2000. In 1997 Renault VI entered into a cooperation agreement with the Finnish truck producer Sisu. In 2002 the company signed a deal with the Chinese company Dongfeng Motor to manufacture engines. Renault Trucks takes part in the FIA European Championship, running Renault Premium powered by 13-litre DXi13 engines. The Renault Trucks MKR technology team won in 2010. Also, the former Uruguayan plant of cars owned by Nordex in Uruguay, made since 2004 the Renault Trucks models like Midland series. The Volvo Group invested about $2 billion to develop a new line of Renault Trucks vehicles which were introduced through 2013 replacing the previous models. Changes of ownership: as part of Renault's restructuring following privatization in 1996, the heavy vehicles operations of bus and truck were divested. In 1999, the Renault and Karosa bus and coach operations were split off from RVI and merged with Fiat Iveco's bus and coach operations to form the jointly owned subsidiary Iris Bus. In 2003, Iris Bus became a full subsidiary of Iveco and the brand Renault on its products was replaced by the brand Iris Bus. On January 2, 2001, Renault VI was sold to Volvo, which renamed it Renault Trucks in 2002. As a result, the mother company Renault SA was Volvo's biggest shareholder, with a 20% stake, shares and voting rights, but the majority of this was sold in October 2010, leaving a 5.1% stake. In December 2012, Renault sold its remaining shares in Volvo. Military vehicles. Renault Trucks defense division is wholly owned by Renault Trucks and is based in Versailles, France. It trades on its 1975 acquisition of Berliet and claims to have over 30,000 vehicles in use around the world. Its status as the leading supplier to the French army was put in jeopardy in 2010 when the government placed a $214 million order to Italian competitor Iveco. It manufactures a range of special vehicles aimed at the defense and security markets, including the Sherpa, VAB armored personal carrier, AMC armored multi-role carrier and Kirax ranges. In 2006 Renault Trucks took over ACMAT, but the defense and security vehicle manufacturer retained its own name and identity. Products. Current products equals. Delivery range, Renault Master, Renault Maxity. Distribution range, Renault Trucks D. Construction range, Renault Trucks C, Renault Trucks K. Long distance range, Renault Trucks T. Military SUVs, Renault Sherpa 2. Former truck models Dodge 50 Series, Dodge 100 Commando, Dodge 300 Series, Renault Access, joint venture with Dennis Eagle, replaced Renault Puncher in 2010, Renault C, Renault B, Renault J, Renault M, Renault S, Renault G, Renault Kirax, Renault Magnum, Renault Mascot, Renault Midlam, Renault Puncher 280 horsepower/20 or 26 tons. Renault Premium Lander, Renault Premium Route. Former bus models Renault Prairie 100, previously sold under the Berliet name, launched in 1972. Some Australian versions of the Pia 100.2 carry dual Renault and Mack logos. Renault Prairie 112 was a 1994 upgrade to the Pia 100 using a front end designed by coach builder Safra. Renault Prairie 180 was the articulated version of the Pia 100, launched in 1981, later to become the Renault Prairie 112 following a facelift. Renault A312, replaced in 1996 by the Renault Agera, then renamed Iris Bus Agera in 2002. In Australia it was sold as the Renault Prairie 100.3, Renault Recreo school bus built by Carosa, Renault SC10, initially sold as the Savium SC10 from 1965, and then in 1981 it was upgraded to the Renault SC10R when the distinctive curved front window was lost. The SC10U, and its replacement SC10RA featured the unique open rear deck. Renault Trezor, replaced by Renault Ara Copyright S in 2000 and renamed Iris Bus Ara Copyright S in 2001. Former coaches models Renault E7, originally launched as the Savium E7 in 1969, Renault Prairie 14, originally launched in 1974 as the Berliet Cruiser. Renault Prairie ATS, derived from the Renault Prairie 100, Renault S-Series coach was marketed as Renault, Savium and Savium Chauson during its production period of 1977 to 1993, Renault FR1, sold for a short time in the US as Mack FR1. Facelifted and renamed Renault Iliad in 1997. Former trolley bus and tram models Renault EA 100, originally launched under the Berliet name in 1977, replaced by the Iris Bus Crystalis, Renault PEA 180, diesel trolley bus hybrid based on the Renault Prairie 180, Renault Civis was quickly rebranded Iris Bus Civis following the sale of Renault Bus. Concept vehicles Renault Radiance, Renault Magnum Vega. See also: Dump truck and list of dump truck manufacturers. References. External links: Renault Trucks Global website, Renault Trucks Defense website, Renault Trucks Corporate 2009, Spanish Renault Trucks Gallery.